You're watching Story Scroll. Real stories, raw emotions, and endings you'll never forget. Let's scroll into today's tale.
My wife cheated, got gangbang at her bachelorette party, and I think my marriage just ended. I don't even know who she is anymore. I never thought I'd be writing something like this. I've been lurking on Reddit for years, mostly for tech stuff and the occasional relationship post I'd read out of morbid curiosity. I always thought that would never be me. But here I am, typing this at 3:17 a.m. because I haven't slept properly in days and my thoughts won't stop looping. I'm a man in my mid-30s. My wife and I have been together for almost a decade, married for a little over 6 years. Until recently, I would have described our marriage as stable. Not perfect, but real. We argued sometimes about normal things, money stress, work schedules, chores, but nothing that ever made me question her loyalty or our foundation. That's part of why this hurts so much. There were no huge red flags, no secretive late nights, no history of cheating that I know of. If you asked me 2 months ago whether my wife would ever betray me, I would have laughed and said no. Her bachelorette party was planned by her friends, mostly women she's known since college. I'll be honest, they've always been a bit wilder than her. Heavy drinkers, very into partying, very into attention. But I never wanted to be that controlling husband who tells his wife who she can or can't be friends with. She's an adult. I trusted her. The party was a weekend trip. Think Vegas-type city. Clubs, hotel rooms, drinking, the whole thing. Before she left, I joked, literally joked, about male strippers and her getting drunk and embarrassing herself. She laughed, rolled her eyes, and said, "Relax. It's just drinking and dancing." I'm not an idiot. I believed her. The first day she was gone, we texted normally. Nothing excessive, just checking in. She sent a couple of selfies with her friends at the pool. Everything seemed fine. The second night is when things changed. She texted me around early evening saying they were getting ready to go out. After that, silence.
No replies. No all night.
No drunk text. Nothing. I didn't panic immediately. I told myself she was just having fun.
Honesty.
People forget. But something about it didn't sit right. She finally texted me the next morning with a casual "good morning hungover LOL."
No explanation.
No acknowledgement of the blackout silence. When she came home 2 days later, she was off. At first, she was overly affectionate.
Clingy.
Constant hugs. Telling me she missed me over and over. Then almost overnight she flipped. Emotionally distant. Short answers. Snappy over small things. She suddenly cared a lot about privacy, angling her phone away from me, taking it into the bathroom, deleting photos right after taking them. When I asked how the trip was, she gave me surface-level answers. Fun. Crazy.
I'm tired.
She wouldn't tell stories like she normally would. If I asked about a specific night, she'd say she didn't remember much. That's when my stomach started dropping. I didn't want to snoop. I've never gone through her phone before.
I didn't want to become that guy.
But I also felt like I was being slowly gaslit by omission. The way I found out wasn't because I was digging. It was because someone made a mistake. A few days after she got back, I got a text from an unknown number late at night. The message just said, "OMG, I can't believe that night actually happened." I replied, confused, asking who this was. A few seconds later, another message came through, clearly meant for someone else, referencing my wife by name and joking about how she went all in. Then, oh shit, wrong person. Please ignore that. My hands were shaking. I asked what she meant. There was a long pause. Then I got a message that said, "I'm so sorry. I thought you knew." That's when my world cracked. She didn't send me anything graphic, but she confirmed enough. Multiple men. Same night. A hotel room. My wife. Her friends. Alcohol. Choices. I sat on the couch staring at my phone for a long time before my wife came into the room and asked what was wrong. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I just asked her, very calmly, to tell me what happened the second night of her trip. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Nothing." Why? I told her someone had messaged me. She laughed nervously and said her friends were idiots and exaggerated everything. I asked her again. She denied it again. So I showed her the messages. I watched her face change in real time. The color drained out of it. She sat down.
She cried.
And eventually she admitted it. She said she was drunk, that things got out of control, that she didn't plan anything, that she barely remembered parts of it. She kept repeating that it was just one night and that it didn't mean anything. She blamed her friends. She said they pushed her. She said she felt pressured. She said it was supposed to be one last night of freedom and she didn't think it would actually happen. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just felt hollow. What keeps replaying in my head isn't even the act itself. It's the deception. The silence. The way she came home and looked me in the eyes. The way she asked me how my week was while sitting on this secret. I haven't slept properly since. When I close my eyes, my brain fills in blanks I wish I didn't have. I feel humiliated in a way I don't know how to explain. Not just hurt, small, disposable. I keep asking myself if our marriage was ever what I thought it was. If this was always who she was and I just didn't see it. Now, everyone has an opinion. Some of my friends say I shouldn't throw away a marriage over one night. That people make mistakes. That alcohol changes things. Her friends, unsurprisingly, say I'm overreacting. That I'm insecure. That it wasn't real cheating. Her family doesn't know yet. She's begging me not to tell anyone. She says it would destroy her reputation. She keeps asking me to forgive her, to go to counseling, to move forward. And I'm stuck. I don't know if I can ever look at her the same way again. I don't know if staying would make me strong or just a doormat. I don't know if leaving would mean I gave up too easily. So I'm asking strangers on the internet because I genuinely don't trust my own judgment right now. Is this cheating? Am I overreacting? Can a marriage survive this? Or am I already holding on to something that's dead? I never thought I'd be here, but here I am. Update. First, thank you to everyone who commented, messaged, and shared their own experiences. I didn't expect my original post to blow up the way it did. I read far more comments than I probably should have, but I'd be lying if I said they didn't help pull me out of the fog I was in. When I wrote my first post, I was still in shock.
I was focused on what happened that night.
After reading your responses, I started seeing something else. How my wife handled everything afterward. The lies. The minimizing. The way she framed herself as both victim and hero at the same time. That shift in perspective changed a lot for me. I stopped comforting her. Up until then, I was still doing what I always did, checking if she was okay, reassuring her when she cried, telling her we'd figure it out. After reading comment after comment pointing out that she was facing consequences, not trauma, I pulled back emotionally. Not out of spite, out of self-preservation. That's when more things started coming to the surface. I didn't set out to dig, but once trust is gone, reality has a way of forcing itself forward. A few days after my post, I noticed her old tablet was still logged into her cloud account. I hadn't touched it before. This time I did. There were messages she thought were deleted. Nothing graphic, but very clear. Conversations between her and her friends before the trip joking about how this weekend is going to be insane. Messages about booking a bigger room, just in case. Laughing about how what happens there stays there. This wasn't a spontaneous, alcohol-fueled accident the way she initially framed it. She knew exactly what kind of party this was going to be. There were timestamps that lined up too neatly. Messages sent before she stopped replying to me that night. Messages sent after confirming everyone was good and no one was talking. The secrecy wasn't a byproduct, it was part of the plan. Armed with that, I sat her down for a second conversation. I stayed calm. That seemed to unnerve her more than yelling would have. I asked her directly if she had told me the whole truth the first time. She hesitated. Then she admitted she had downplayed things because she was scared I'd leave. I showed her what I found. That's when the story changed again. She admitted that it wasn't as chaotic or accidental as she'd first claimed. That she knew there were going to be multiple men involved. That she could have left at any point and didn't. That she made a series of choices she can't undo. She also admitted something that still makes my stomach turn. She never planned to tell me. Ever. If that text hadn't been sent to me by mistake, I would still be living in the dark. As if that wasn't enough, I learned that one of her friends had recorded parts of the night, not for blackmail, but for memories. That video apparently circulated within their friend group. I haven't seen it and I don't want to. The fact that it exists at all is enough. That's when something in me shut off. Not rage, not despair, just clarity. The next steps I took weren't dramatic, but they were deliberate. I quietly consulted a lawyer, not to file immediately, but to understand my options. I separated our finances so nothing could be moved or hidden by accident. I scheduled STI testing for myself. That was a sobering moment I never imagined I'd face in my marriage, but it needed to be done. I told one person in my life, a close friend I trust completely. I didn't ask him what to do. I just told him the facts. Words spread slowly after that, not because I was trying to expose her, but because secrets like this never stay contained. That's when her behavior shifted. The tears and apologies faded and were replaced by anger. She started accusing me of ruining her life and making her the villain. She said I was controlling the narrative by not immediately forgiving her. She asked why I wanted to punish her forever for one mistake. I told her I wasn't punishing her. I was responding. We've been sleeping in separate rooms since. There's no intimacy.
No touching.
No shared routines. I feel detached in a way that's honestly surprised me. It's like my brain finally accepted what my heart was resisting. A few nights ago, I told her the truth, that I'm leaning toward divorce.
She cried.
She begged for counseling. She promised transparency. She said she'd cut off every friend involved. She said she'd do anything. I told her I needed space. Real space. Not emotional bargaining. Not damage control. Time to decide what kind of life I want to live. Reading your comments helped me understand something important. This isn't just about sex. It's about respect, honesty, and the ability to trust the person next to you. Right now, I don't have that. I don't know what the final outcome will be yet. But for the first time since this started, I don't feel lost. I feel grounded. And that feels like progress. Thank you again to everyone who took the time to respond. I'll update again when there's something definitive to share. Final update. This will be my last update. I sat with everything for a while before making a decision. I didn't rush it. I didn't do anything dramatic. I didn't yell, threaten, or issue ultimatums. I watched actions, listened to words, and paid attention to how I felt when I imagined staying versus leaving. A few weeks ago, I filed for divorce. When I told my wife, I did it calmly. No raised voice.
No accusations.
I simply told her that I didn't see a version of our marriage where trust could exist again, and that staying would slowly turn me into someone I didn't like. She didn't react the way she expected to. I think she was braced for anger, for punishment, for chaos. Instead, she looked stunned, like the floor had dropped out from under her. She kept saying she thought we were working toward healing. I told her healing requires truth, and that the truth kept changing depending on what I already knew. That wasn't something I could build a future on. I didn't try to control the narrative publicly. I didn't blast her on social media or call her family to explain my side. I told a few people the facts when they asked. That was it. The rest came out on its own. Apparently, there was a falling out within her friend group. One of the bridesmaids, the same one who accidentally texted me in the beginning, got into an argument with my wife about who ruined whose life. In the heat of it, she shared screenshots and details that completely contradicted the watered-down version my wife had been telling people. Once that happened, the story stopped being something my wife could manage. Friends who had cheered her on quietly disappeared. Some of them admitted, after the fact, that they treated the whole night like entertainment.
A story. A spectacle.
When the consequences showed up, they didn't want to be part of it anymore. Her family eventually found out. I didn't enjoy that part, and I didn't involve myself beyond answering direct questions honestly. They were disappointed. Not explosive or cruel, just quietly sad. That seemed to hit her harder than anger ever could. Watching all of this from a distance was strange. I felt less vindicated than I expected and more relieved that I wasn't carrying the secret anymore. She made one last attempt to change the framing. She told me she felt emotionally neglected in our marriage, that I was present but not attentive enough, that she felt invisible sometimes. She said if I had fought harder, maybe she wouldn't have made the choices she did. I listened. I didn't interrupt. Then I told her that if she felt neglected, the correct response was to talk to me or leave, not betray me and lie about it afterward. That dissatisfaction doesn't justify secrecy, and that I wasn't going to accept responsibility for decisions I didn't make. That was the first time she didn't have a response. In the weeks since, I've focused on rebuilding myself in small, unglamorous ways. Therapy,
The gym.
cooking actual meals instead of stress-eating junk, relearning what my days feel like without constant tension humming in the background. I didn't realize how much of myself I had been shrinking to keep things calm until calm didn't require shrinking anymore. Legally, things were straightforward. We don't have kids, which made everything simpler and sadder at the same time. Assets were split fairly. No drawn-out courtroom battles. No attempts to win. I wasn't interested in winning. I was interested in being done. The last conversation we had was brief. We met to finalize paperwork and exchange a few remaining items. She cried. I didn't. Not because I felt nothing, but because I'd already done my grieving privately. I told her I hoped she found whatever she was searching for and that I genuinely wished her well, just not in my life. That was the truth. What I've learned through all of this is something I didn't understand at the beginning. This was never just about sex. It was about disrespect, about secrecy, about making choices, and then asking someone else to carry the weight of them. I didn't leave because I was angry. I left because I wanted peace. And I have it now. To everyone who took the time to comment, message, or share their own stories, thank you. You helped a stranger steady himself when everything felt unrecognizable. I'm closing this chapter for good. I didn't lose my wife that night. I lost the illusion I had of her, and I'm okay with that.
Thanks for watching Story Scroll. Hit that bell and stay tuned for the next story that will move your heart.